get into this conversation now. Former ANC President Thabo Mbeki's project Renewal in the Free State has been called a farce by some supporters of suspended ANC Secretary-General Ace Magashule. Magashule's allies are accusing Mbeki of not involving them in unity talks which took place in the province. Joining us now to talk us through how the party is dealing with these challenges is spokesperson Pule Mabe, who talks to us on the line. Mr. Mabe, thank you very much for your time. You've heard some of the accusations that took place outside the Bloemfontein High Court yesterday. What's your response at a time when the ANC is trying to foster this renewal project?
Morning, Oli, and morning to your viewers. Because it's quite unfortunate that certain utterances would have been made that sought to soil the work, the good work that the province had done over the past few days, this past weekend, where they'd invited former President Thabo Mbeki to come and have an engagement with them around the renewal of the organization and how do we attend to a number of challenges that the organization finds itself having to deal with from time to time. Of course, members of the ANC who are well within our own structures, who are structured, participate in the full political life of the organization, would have been aware of such an event, and if they were delegated to attend or were amongst those that were expected to attend, they would have attended. You see, using platforms such as courts where cadres would have gone to express or display their support to try and howl, shout and insult at the leadership of the African National Congress is rather unfortunate, and it is becoming a norm. I mean, I've had one comrade who would have worked at Lituli House previously speaking outside court that people have not been paid when actually everyone else at Lituli House has been paid. The problem, Toli, is that when you are upset from organizational life, you don't even know what is happening. You tend to repeat what you read in newspapers last year, not knowing that, by the way, certain things are developing, things are moving, and all of that. Staffers at the ANC have been paid. There were issues with those of our cadres that were employed in the Free State, in part because at one point provinces had agreed that they will take care of the kitty. Yeah. But internally, together with their staff representatives, as well as NIHAU, there has been an engagement on how those issues are being attended to. So if Kalniaus or anyone wants to know what the ANC is doing on some of these things, they are welcomed. I mean,
let me ask you this question then.
They can,
Let me ask you this question then, Mr. Mabe, because I wouldn't want Carl Niehaus to be the focus of this discussion when, in actual fact, you had the suspended Secretary-General of the ANC, Ace Magashule, himself using words such as you cannot divide the ANC by talking ill of certain leaders of the ANC. For example, he made reference to some discussions that may have been had about former President Jacob Zuma, and it was in direct reference or indirect reference to a question that was asked to him about the efforts of former President Mbeki, who was in the province the past weekend to try and foster unity and renewal.
Well, Toli, I was not in any way throwing Carl into this. This discussion is quite bigger than Carl. You know, I was just giving an example around an issue that related to staff and some of the utterances you would have said out of court. I might not have had what the SG would have said around the isolation of certain leaders, and that might not necessarily constitute the unity and renewal project that the ANC is trying to foster. Safe to say that this engagement that happened in the Free State is a step in the right direction. It's going to be one of many others to come. Provinces are designing this program as part of their own response to the call made by the National Executive Committee, where it also had a Lukhudla, where we said that part of what we will do this year is to also establish the Renewal Commission to make sure that we become practical on the things that we said must be done. The men and women that we put forward to be able to lead the African National Congress must be those that could be entrusted and trusted with the responsibility to execute the National Democratic Revolution. We went further and said that the Electoral Committee, led by former Deputy President Kgalema Motlanthe, must also work on putting up a framework that would begin guiding structures on how they must pay attention in the selection of those that must lead. You will know that over the next few weeks and months, the ANC will be convening a number of regional and provincial conferences as part of the build-up to that seminal occasion of the 55th National Conference. So we want to make sure that when we get to the 55th National Conference, we are not just obsessed about who must become a leader. We should go there and process policies or express ourselves on policy positions that will be able to help the ANC to change the living conditions of the people of this country for the better.
Yeah.
We have heard our people loud and clear what they said at local government elections. Some of them stayed away, did not go and vote, and that had a negative effect on the electoral base of support of the African National Congress. So part of doing this renewal is to make sure that you could be able to address all of the challenges that came up, but make sure that you also bring or recruit within the ranks of the ANC cadres of the movement who are fit for purpose and understand the work that the ANC is expected to execute on the ground.
Let me ask this question then, Mr. Pule Mabe, and it's got to do with this project renewal that is being spearheaded by the ANC national leadership, including its veterans. When a senior leader, such as Dakota Lekwete, he sits on the highest decision-making body of the party. Dakota Lekwete, in what capacity was he speaking outside the Bloemfontein High Court yesterday?
Well, remember, we had said that if there are those members of the ANC who are going to court to display their own support and all of that, they are doing so in their own individual capacity, because the ANC does not necessarily bar people from going or attending courts or displaying their support to fellow cadres and all of that. The expectation is that when comrades attend these gatherings, either to display their support and all of that, the statements that they utter should not be understood or come across as bringing the organization into disrepute. Because when they do that, then they begin entering the province of ill discipline. So it is not expected. But if a cadre goes to court, whether it's Dakota or whoever, they are going to display their own support. And when they are there, they still maintain the required decorum. The ANC has got no issue with that. The issue is when an individual leader of the ANC attends a gathering to display their support and then uses that platform to grandstand or want to scream or shout at the leadership of the ANC from the altar. That is not expected, because as soon as you do that, then you are entering a different terrain, which then requires the ANC to express itself around your conduct differently.
Well, I've got a bone to pick with you about that then, Mr. Mabe, because Dakota Lekwete is an NEC member. That branch members of the ANC look up to and will listen to him with an even more critical ear, particularly on a divisive issue such as this one. So when Dakota Lekwete stands up and says that the charges against the suspended Secretary General are quote-unquote flimsy, does that not sow confusion first among ANC members, never mind the South African public, who have heard ANC leaders repeatedly say that the ANC is trying desperately to disassociate itself with those that may be going through corruption charges?
Well, Toli, you will have to appreciate this. When a person appears before a court of law, they are not guilty. You know, they remain innocent until convicted or so found to be in the wrong. You know, when the ANC expresses itself around supporting the independence of the judiciary and all of that, the ANC does so mindful of the fact that the judiciary has got the duty to preside over cases that are brought before them and arrive at a conclusion that will be driven by the facts or merits that shall have been presented. Now, for anyone to go and speak about the merits or demerits of charges that are before the court, they are really expressing their own personal views. The ANC never sent anyone to speak on merits or demerits of cases that are before courts, because we believe that courts are independent. They should be given the right to preside over cases that are brought before them, and that those that are also appearing before the court are also allowed, in terms of their own Bill of Rights and other associated constitutional imperatives, to seek representatives of their own choice. I mean, courts in this country are open platforms. When you appear in court, you can call your own representatives. There could be people who support Toli, who could go there and make statements in support of Toli and all of that. For as long as those people do not insult the court, that's what we say. Don't insult the court. Allow the court to do their work. You can express your own beliefs. I mean, we can't tell you what you must believe in or not believe in.
All
because
right.
you see,
So,
I'm not going to come here and want to pass judgment on a case that is still before the court. I am not the judge. All I'm going to do is to appeal to the conscience of members of the African National Congress to make sure that they use the space available to them to also allow us to show or demonstrate our own respect of the independence of those institutions.
Mr. Mabe, final question, and very briefly, if you can. I'm sure it's a yes or no answer. So Dakota Lekwete did nothing wrong when he made statements such as that the NPA has a flimsy case against your party's Secretary General.
Well, I didn't hear him speak. And
well, I'm telling you the words he used. I'm telling you the words he used.
Well, it's not for me to say it's right or it's wrong. He's expressing his own opinion. I mean, I'm not a judge of opinions. He was expressing his own opinion. It's his own opinion. It's not an opinion of the ANC. It's not my space to say this is right or this is wrong. It's his own opinion. It's got nothing to do with the National Executive Committee. He was not speaking on behalf of the NEC. He was expressing his own view. I'm sure that he is available to really clarify his own position. The ANC cannot come to express itself on views made by people outside court in support of their own views. I mean, it's their own views. The ANC never sent anyone to speak on its behalf outside court. If Comrade Dagoda was there, whatever he said, he was expressing his own view. The ANC has got no position except to say we support the independence of the judiciary. Whatever outcome that is ultimately arrived at in this case, the ANC can only welcome that, because the ANC is not a party or an interested party in this court case. The ANC is not a friend of the court on this matter.
All right. That's Pule Mabe, speaks for the African National Congress.